It's a gorgeous Monday morning, June 17th in the Finger Lakes, 2013. This is Weber This Week, our new name for our new show, allowing us to open up the show to many guests that come from different backgrounds. And today, my longtime friend, Dr. Frank Nicchi, joins us, the president of the New York Chiropractic College. He'll be with us for the full show this morning. Good morning, everybody. I hope you all had a great Father's Day. I hope you treated Dad to a steak. My daughter took care of me yesterday, and we had a good time at her house. But belated Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there checking us out here on FingerLakes1.com. I'm Harold Weber, along with my longtime friend, Dr. Frank Nicchi. Frank, thanks a lot for carving out 30 minutes of your time to come in and talk about the college.
My pleasure, Harold. It's nice to see you somewhere else besides the golf course.
Well, usually you see my golf ball go weird directions.
Yeah.
Of course, I don't see you too often, only when you make the turn with Sweet Lou DiLorenzo, because you guys play ungodly hours. You play earlier than anyone in the world.
First, we play on weekends, just about weekends only, and it's usually about 7 a.m. or before that on Sunday, so we get out early, we're home early. So
that's right.
Yeah.
And you guys do, and you walk all the time, good exercise outfit.
Yeah, we do.
Well, listen, let's talk. Of course, Dr. Frank Nicchi, the president of New York Chiropractic College, and of course, being a Seneca Falls guy all my life, I remember the days when I used to broadcast Eisenhower College basketball games. Let's go back. When Eisenhower College was out of here and there was a vacant facility down there, you, of course, from the Long Island area, the Long Island campus did not have the room to expand according to the background. At what point on the radar screen did Seneca Falls, New York come up in discussions? Can you remember way back when? Was that something that they were looking at?
Yeah, sure. As you mentioned, Harold, we were on Long Island for quite a bit. We actually started in New York City on the Upper West Side, or the west side of Manhattan, and the college moved in the 70s to Long Island, and we were up there till about 1990. And as you mentioned, there were some constraints on our ability to build there. And at the time, Doc Padgett, who you all know, we all know from the community, was on the board of trustees of the college. And he would drive past Eisenhower every day. He lived up in Romulus. He'd head over to his office in Waterloo. And he suggested that the board take a look at the old Eisenhower campus. And without going into too much detail, that started the move. And after a lot of work, the college moved approximately 350 miles from Long Island to the campus in Seneca Falls. And what's absolutely amazing about that is that it thrived. In spite of that move, it thrived. And it's been doing wonderfully since then, since 1991. Chronologically, we're here 20 years, over 20 years now. So
it's amazing.
Yeah.
What about the folks in Long Island? When the move was made, was it a tough decision to pull out? Obviously, they were used to having you there and creating a payroll and creating the economic engine. Was it tough on those folks? The people?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of many of the faculty came up here, took the move. We maintained a presence down on Long Island, which we still have. We have a health center down in Levittown, Long Island. And I think there was some disappointment from the alumni who had gotten used to the college being there, gotten used to some of the seminars that would take place at the college, the ability to come back and forth to the college and having their alma mater in the backyard.
Right.
But I think since the college has moved up, since people have seen the campus here, I mean, as you know, we're on almost 300 acres here. It's just an absolutely spectacular campus. The facility is second to none. I think they've started to change their mind about the move and say, well, this was in the best interest of the college, and that's fine.
Now, as far as yourself and your family, when you first made your first trek up to the Finger Lakes and checked out the campus, what was your reaction to the Finger Lakes?
Well, I was born in the New York City area in one of the boroughs, like Queens, and I was born in Brooklyn, raised in Queens, and spent time in Long Island. So I was pretty much used to an urban style of life, which essentially meant sitting in my car on the Parkway most of the day.
That's right.
In fact, I tell an interesting story. I used to leave the college and drive to my chiropractic office, because I was a practicing chiropractor as well. And that was about a 14-minute drive, which would take me about an hour and 30 minutes.
Oh, wow.
And I tell people now I can just about get to Buffalo in that same time. So I guess for me, when I started coming up, before I was president, I still worked downstate at the school at the health center down there. And I would come up and visit when Ken Padgett was president. I kind of liked it. I said, boy, this is really nice. This is a community where there is no traffic. The people are all incredibly friendly, incredibly supportive. And of course, in 2000, when I was appointed president, we moved up here. At the time, my daughter was 16, so she was just about starting high school, 15 or 16, and my son was off to college. So it was kind of difficult for us because of her mostly, you know, and she had to leave her friends and her school and everything else. But she did fine up here, and now I'm happy to say that both my children live in Rochester, so they're only about an hour away.
Oh, that's great.
So I think the move benefited the college, and it benefited the Nicchi family as well.
Well, listen, Dr. Frank Nicchi, my special guest, a longtime friend of mine, he's been nice enough to come in and talk about the college. We're going to get into more detail. Let's talk about the student enrollment as far as how many students you have presently. Has it met your goals? Has it exceeded your goals?
Yes. Over the last 10 years, Harold, we've added a number of programs. As you know, when the college first moved up here in 91, we had pretty much the chiropractic program was and still is our flagship program. And since that time, we've added a number of different master's degree programs and other programs. So in answer to your question, we have about 600 and, I don't know, I got the number right here, about 600 students in the chiropractic program. We have about 68 in the acupuncture program, which is one of the new master's programs. We are the only master's degree program in acupuncture or acupuncture school in the upstate New York area. And a new program that we started several years ago was a Master's of Science in Clinical Nutrition. We have about 87 students in that. We have, in general, in all our programs, over 800 students. At any given time, that may shift 25 up, down. Yeah. So we're pleased with enrollment. It's optimum for the faculty. It's optimum for the facility at this point. And what's interesting is 2 of those master's degree programs are done totally online now.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Now, as far as most people who don't understand what it takes to get in as a student there, and I might add, it's a well-diverse student population, I trust, from all over the country, and I'm a guest from outside of the country as well. We're
currently represented by 33 states.
It's amazing.
And several foreign countries. The largest enrollment is from Canada, from the foreign countries. We have about 15% of our enrollment is Canadian, mostly from Ontario province, Toronto area.
Well, I work part-time at the Thruway. I can appreciate the Ontario because I see a zillion Ontario plates come through the Thruway when I'm collecting tolls as a part-time job, and I can't help but laugh when I see Ontario, Canada. I used to needle the people, why do you come here? It's a 2.5-hour drive each way. They go to the outlet mall.
Sure.
They find it to be beneficial for them to come all the way across. I'm not so sure I would do a 5-hour trip to go to a mall, but there are tons of that traffic every day. Yeah. As far as requirements to come in, it isn't like you can just send a letter in and become a member of your college.
No.
Talk a little bit about the academic background that one must possess to even be considered for admission.
About 80% of our students have 75 to 80% have a baccalaureate degree, and there are certain required subjects in advance of attending chiropractic college, mostly in the basic sciences, not unlike a pre-medical kind of program. Strictly speaking, there isn't a baccalaureate required. There's at least over 120 hours of coursework that's required to get in, and you have to have a certain GPA or a grade point average that's looked at by our admissions staff. And so basically it's pretty much similar to most health sciences professions at this point.
So it's a tough road, and the study courses and the curriculum is not easy. They have to bear down and do the work.
It's extremely rigorous, especially the first 2 years. Yeah.
And as far as the number of years one must attend, I believe doesn't that change based on the program you're involved in?
Yes, the chiropractic program is pretty much done in 3 1/3 years, and that's because the students go in trimesters around the clock.
Okay.
They have no break at summer.
Wow.
So they're able to accelerate and do a program which essentially is 4 years in 3 1/3 years. So that also adds to the rigor because they have no time off. I mean, they have a couple of days here and there, but no serious time off.
Nose to the grindstone.
Very much so.
I got to tell you, then we'll get back and talking to Dr. Frank Nicchi, who's been a buddy of mine for years. He's been nice enough to come in and talk about the college. Certainly, I've always believed that the New York Chiropractic College, since I go by there a million times a week, has always been sort of like a Rodney Dangerfield. I don't think it gets the respect that it deserves because talk about the number of administrative folks you have working there as well.
Sure.
You generate quite a payroll, I assume.
Yeah, we do.
Therefore, you're generating a lot of dollars for this area. I don't think a lot of people recognize the economic engine that you produce.
That's an excellent point, Harold. We have over 200 employees at the Seneca Falls campus and in some of our related health centers. We have health centers in other areas, and also about 200 part-timers. So we employ about 400 people total.
Wow.
And there's a study done a couple of years ago that showed about $42 million in economic input to the region, specifically the Seneca County region,
Sure.
more so than anything else, based on the college. So there's a real, as you mentioned, economic engine that the college has added to this community. In addition to that, there's over $1 million in taxes paid on, employment taxes especially,
Sure.
but based on payroll and things like that. So, and if you walk on any given Saturday through the community on Fall Street down the road, you'll see a lot of our students doing business with all the local merchants here, the restaurants and the coffee houses and et cetera, pizzas places,
Sure.
and everything else. As our students.
Well, I heard a comment about some of the local restaurants that have takeout delivery. The college keeps them pretty busy at 1
Sure.
o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning when they're studying.
Yeah.
And a lot of places don't facilitate that, but a couple places that are smart will deliver early in the morning.
Also, I'm not sure, we do have dormitories, but, it's graduate school level. It's not undergraduate. So most of the students opt not to live in the dormitory. We have about maybe 110 that live in the dormitory. But most of the other students live in the community, either in apartment housing or they'll rent a house together. So they bring a lot of economic prosperity to folks in the community residentially as well.
And by the way, the infrastructure of the college, of course, as you mentioned, some 300 acres in totality, a ton of buildings. And having been a Seneca Falls guy and having partaked in many of the events that are held at the school, I think, not because we've been friends and not because you're here this morning, but I think, first off, I had the opportunity, along with Jimmy, to go to the Miners Academy Hall of Fame affair at the college last year. And just the way, Frank, that you people and your staff set it up, it's just second to none. The hospitality that you afford, the room, the way you break out the individual type of banquet, I just thought it was spectacular. They go downstairs to the famous Delavan Theater for the ceremony. I think people don't recognize the outstanding ability to host an event there.
Yes.
And I think it's hard to get in there, I'm sure, because you have a lot of bookings. But I think it's really something that is special. If anyone gets a chance, take it from me and from Jimmy. If you get a chance to go to the college for a social event, it's second to none. Your staff does an outstanding job.
Thank you. And I have to agree with you there. We have an outstanding facilities and maintenance staff. In addition to that, we're the largest venue in Seneca County. So, for example, we host every 2 years, as I'm sure you and Jim
Sure.
know, the Women's Hall of Fame induction ceremony is on our campus. That's afforded us the ability to have people like Senator Clinton on our campus and Chief Justice Ginsburg on our campus, and which is absolutely delightful. But we're also doing a lot of other things. A couple of years ago, Nucor had a meeting up on campus, and they had over 1,000 people, and there were food being served and
phenomenal.
everything else. So we're able to do that either on a large setting or a small setting. We have a beautiful atrium in a new building, relatively new building now, that faces onto a pond, and we hold weddings there and receptions and things like that. So I agree with you.
And by the way, let's not forget the diamond in the rough is that health and fitness center, the swimming pool, the track, the exercise scenario, the zillions of programs that your people offer, different types of programs. I really, myself and Mary have obviously taken part in that over the years. Silver Sneakers, the senior citizens, which me and Mary are part of that now. I think that is unquestionably one of the best facilities in the state of New York.
Yeah, the Health and Fitness Center, in addition to being a wonderful resource for our students, faculty, and staff, also has several hundred town members, community members that use, as yourself, Harold, use the facility and also use our health facility. The Seneca Falls Health Center is a multidisciplinary health facility that provides medical services. It provides chiropractic services, obviously, acupuncture, oriental medicine, nutrition, podiatry. So it's also a resource in addition to the health and fitness center where people are able to use the swimming pool and the gym and the fitness center. We also have the Seneca Falls Health Center, which is a very, very popular health center in the community.
You know, as you look forward in your present capacity as president, and we want to send out kudos to Kenny Padgett, who needles me every time I see him at a golf course. It's not often you get your name on a building when you're still alive, so that's impressive too.
Yep.
And Kenny's always needling me about putting. I saw him just yesterday. I was hitting a few putts. Let's throw out kudos to him too. You and him, certainly you and him are close friends, and as I am, I've known Kenny back 40 years ago.
Hey, Webb, can I?
Yeah, sure.
I just think that Dr. Ken Padgett is a hero to our community for facilitating that move, and he's humble and kind of under the radar, but his ability to convince, as you talked about earlier, to bring that college up to Seneca Falls,
it's really amazing.
You can't measure the impact that's had, and I've always felt that it was a heroic thing he did for our community.
Absolutely.
For sure.
And something that many people wouldn't have even entertained, because if you look at colleges that have moved even a much shorter distance than 350 miles, they have not necessarily thrived. They have not necessarily survived in many cases. And because of Ken Padgett's insight, because of his willingness to do this kind of thing, we all owe him a deep debt of gratitude for what he's been able to do, not only for the community guys, but also for the chiropractic profession. I always call Ken, and as you say, he's very humble. I always call him an icon in our profession, because that's certainly what he is. A lot of folks don't realize the amount of service he's given to the chiropractic profession, not only as past president of this college, but president of the New York State Chiropractic Association, the president of the American Chiropractic Association. And at 80-something years old, he's still very much involved in the profession. So,
as you look forward to, as I'm talking to Frank Nicchi, Dr. Frank Nicchi, the president of New York Chiropractic College, here on Weber This Week, our new name for this program, and therefore allowing us, certainly we're going to end the show today with a couple of sports comments, but certainly as you look at your enrollment, do you see it just continuing to flourish there? Do you see any issues down the road? Do you see it smooth sailing to continue a phenomenal?
Yeah, I think we teach natural healthcare professions. It's pretty much an alternative for traditional healthcare professions. We teach chiropractic, and we teach acupuncture and oriental medicine and nutrition. And I think there is a movement of the public toward more utilization of those kinds of services. Additionally, Harold, we at the college have been able to incorporate a lot of these services into more mainstream venues. So, for example, we have affiliations in 5 Veterans Administration health centers and hospitals where we provide chiropractic service now for the veterans, many of whom are coming home from the Middle East with all kinds of issues, particularly back and neck pain issues. And now we have a rotation in Buffalo at one of the larger VA hospital centers, in Bath, in Canandaigua, in Rochester, and actually we have a remote affiliation in Miami, Florida, where we send select students once a year. So we've been able to incorporate chiropractic into more mainstream venues, and this obviously exposes more people to the benefits of chiropractic, and I believe will help will help make enrollment prosper over a period of time. So we're very happy with how the college has turned out, and we feel very strongly that the college will maintain the enrollment it has and maybe add some and continue to succeed.
Well, I know you got to be very proud of your staff, and you may be leading the effort, but certainly there are people that report up to you that are part of your team. And I always said when I was at Gould's and I had a chance to manage customer service with 15 reports, I'm only as good as those folks because they can make you look bad. And in your case, certainly leading the effort there and leading that team that you put together, I think the echo would be the same sentiment. You obviously got a good team that's in place.
It's beyond good, Harold. It's absolutely spectacular, and I think in the educational arena that we are, it's the best there is. I have senior staff members. If I could just take a minute to acknowledge them. Sean Anglem, who's a local person, you guys might know him. He's our chief financial officer.
Very well.
Actually, his title is vice president for finance and administrative services. Dr. Mike Meston, who is a chiropractor but also completed a doctorate degree in education at U of R recently. He is our provost and executive vice president. Diane Dixon, our enrollment management vice president. Dave Ordeone, our president of vice president of institutional quality and assessment. And Peter Van Tile takes care of public relations, but he's also vice president of advancement for the college. And certainly someone you know, Dick Warden.
Sure.
Dick is in charge of all administrative services at the college and virtually is the man responsible for the facility and how it's kept and everything else. As the facilities people report to him, the food service reports to him, bookstore reports to him. And he, in addition to those remarkable people that I've been blessed to work with, that's how I feel, are really the folks that put the college where it is today. I don't know if you're aware of this, but the college for 5 years running has been selected as a great college to work for, which is the Chronicle of Higher Education has this survey that comes out every year.
I think you were ranked 11th, weren't you? Something like that?
I don't know if it is an actual ranking, but there's a group of schools that they pick every year. We've been in it 5 times, and we're on what's called the honor roll, which means in several categories. Like, for example, senior leadership is one of them, facilities and things like that. We've been repetitively named in those, so they put us on an honor roll. And so that is also a reflection of the kind of people we have working there. I don't want to in any way make an oversight about not mentioning the staff and the faculty who are absolutely superb. And while we are the senior administrators, it's those people who do the day-to-day activity, who teach the students, and who work in various positions at the college that make us function at the very, very high level that we do.
And by the way, we should point out to the golfers, Cuga links, executive links, whatever you call it. I've had the opportunity to hit balls there forever. I probably lead the league in hitting golf balls off the driving range there. I used to play at clubs, shoot 102, and I'd go down to the college and hit 3 buckets, and I'd bleed. I played the course several times. You made a decision this year to lease it to a couple of young folks who we had in here a couple weeks ago. And that's certainly a part that you want to continue to be a part of in a certain way. But I think it's great to give the kids an opportunity to run up as well.
Sure. And, I mean, at the end of the day, it's not what our mission is. Our mission is educational. It's healthcare education. And while we appreciate having the golf course on campus, the decision was made that it's probably better that folks who do this and every day really take over and do it.
I think it's a smart point. We had both of them in there a couple weeks ago. They're a nice young couple, and we wish them well.
Now, all you have to do, Harold, is fix the weather so we can get a little busier there.
Tell me about it.
Yeah.
Well, listen, we appreciate you taking time out, and I know that you're a busy guy. You flew in from St. Louis. You certainly arrived and came into the show. We really appreciate you taking time out of your schedule.
My pleasure. Good to see you again.
We look forward to having you come back. Before you leave, we're going to take a picture. That's going to be a scary thing, my side of the picture. By the way, folks, we're going to take a break and represent and talk about our great sponsors that make Weber this week possible every Monday here on FingerLakes1.com. We'll come back with a couple of sports comments, and then we'll talk about next week's guest here on Weber This Week here on FingerLakes1.com. Welcome back. It's almost wrap-up time here on Weber This Week. Again, Dr. Frank Nicchi joining us this morning. We appreciate his effort to come in and talk to us about the college. And again, I think it's a diamond in the rough, and it should get a lot more respect, in my view, than it currently does. It's a great operation, a great campus down there. So, again, if you get an opportunity, go to a social event down there, be a part of their health and fitness centers. You'll never believe how outstanding effort they put in together to make it really nice for the community. If you can possibly be a part of that program, take advantage of it. Let's turn my focus now to the world of sports. I know Frank's a big sports fan. We're not going to talk about his Mets because he's not happy about the way they've been playing this year. But we should point out they did win, trailing 3-0 yesterday. And Frank is shaking his head. The Mets win a game, even though I got to admit, Frank, I was a little surprised. They did a celebration at home plate when the kid hit the home run. You thought they won the 7th game of the World Series. They've lost 10 out of 12. I would have expected a little less drama than that, but that's all right. A win is a win is a win, as they say. So, unfortunately, the Mets next year they say they're going to be able to spend some money and bring some honchos into the city. I think you would agree with that. They need some. Besides Wright and Harvey, maybe one or two other players, they definitely need some help in certain positions. Yankees are struggling. They finally won a game yesterday, trailing 5-0, coming back and winning that game 6-5. They've been struggling, but again, they're playing a lot better baseball, I think, with all the losses of players than anyone would have imagined. Turn our focus to the world of NBA basketball. If you're a Heat fan, the Heat is on the Heat, trailing now 3-2, heading to Miami, South Beach. Game number 6 will be contested. I believe it's tomorrow night. Game 6 will be in Miami. The Heat obviously has got to win tomorrow to keep that series rolling. It'll be interesting to see if they will go to a Game 7, which by the way, also will be in Miami. Leading up to the United States Open, since myself and Frank are diehard golfers, oh my God, it's such an easy course, under 7,000 yards. They've got 7 or 8 holes, Frank. They're going to hit sand wedges, pitching wedges in. Wrong. What an outstanding layout, Marion Golf Club with the wicker baskets. I thought it was sensational. You talk about holding up with tradition and making it tough on these guys. Let me tell you something. The rough was 6 inches deep. You missed the fairway, and there was a lot of people missing fairways. The greens were lightning, lots of undulation. Kudos to Philadelphia, city of brotherly love. I thought Marion was spectacular. And, oh, by the way, there were no 63s or 62s. Winning score, Justin Rose, +1. +1 after 4 rounds. And, oh, by the way, 4th round yesterday, I watched every minute of it. My daughter, we went up there yesterday, and I always tell her I'm coming up for Father's Day, but don't feel hurt if I don't come on the front porch for 7 hours because I'm watching golf. But you know something? There was no win, Jimmy, none. And those guys struggled. Schwartzel from South Africa, the wheels came off early. Luke Donald, the wheels came off early. Steve Stricker
shanked one.
Yeah, hit one out of bounds on 2. Hit his next one, SHANK, to the right out of bounds. Made a great comeback on the back 9, too little, too late. Jason Day played his heart out. Phil Mickelson, oh, poor Phil, never winning a United States Open, and he comes close again. And seemed like every one of his putts just right over the cup, spun out a few times. You got to wonder if it's ever going to be in the cards for him to win the U.S. Open Golf Championship. Turning my attention to the NHL, if you're a hockey fan, and who isn't when it comes time for the playoffs, it's the Bruins. And it's Boston Bruin against the Blackhawks. Game 3 tonight should be interesting. This will be a big, hard-hitting game. I was talking to Frank before I went on air this morning. To me, there's nothing like watching NHL playoff hockey. And Frank, as I told you earlier, I yet figured out how those guys get up off the ice after getting slammed against the boards. It's amazing to me.
Well, it's nice you can finally find the hockey games on TV now. They're back on NBC instead of whatever crazy channel, the Outdoor Channel or whatever.
That's right. And, hey, Jim, the Muscle Man situation's coming up soon, too, up in Geneva. I believe it's coming up real close.
That's a nice event.
Oh, that's a huge event. A lot of people from all over the country come in for the Muscle Man.
And the nice thing about the Muscle Man, too, is they have so many different divisions. They have a mini muscle. They have a kids race. I know a lot of my friends have gotten that triathlon bug or the fitness bug, and for a lot of them, that mini muscle is their first real test of a triathlon.
Yep.
And so it's fun, and it's really well supported, and I expect they'll have another great event this year, bigger than last year.
All right, we're ready to wrap this baby up. Let me remind you, next week's guest, a little different time next week because of my schedule. We'll be doing a show not at 9:30 next Monday as we normally do. It'll be 4 o'clock next Monday, the 24th. Our special guests, Doug Avery and Ted Flock, representing the Trinity Episcopal Church, which is one of the most photographed churches in the entire country. When tourists come to Seneca Falls, overlooking the canal, they were ravaged with wind damage, rooting their roof. A big number needed to raise. A lot of people have chipped in on that. We're going to see Ted Flock, who was a graduate of myself with Minders. He was in my class of 63 at Minders, along with Doug Avery, who needs no introduction. They'll be in the studios talking about where they are in the fundraising effort and hopefully at the 11th hour, because you're getting close to start working again on that roof to get it right back to where it was. They'll be in talking about where they are and finances and how much more money they need, and maybe a viewer or so could kick in some money as well. So Ted Flock, Doug Avery, representing the Trinity Episcopal Church, will be our guest next week. That'll be the 24th at a special time, 4 o'clock. We hope that you'll join us. Again, Frank, thanks for joining us this morning.
My pleasure, Harold.
All right, speaking for Dr. Frank Nicchi and our producer, director, and owner, Jimmy Senecropi, you take care, everybody. Have a great week. This has been Weber This Week. Take care.